What if we all operated from a place of collective liberation over self-preservation? What if we saw the children of Gaza as our own? What if we heard our own 6-year-old in the voice of Hen Rajab begging to a 911 operator for someone to come save her? What if we saw ourselves in the men and the boys with black bags over their heads, stripped of their clothing, numbered, zip-tied, heading to the most inhumane torture one could imagine? What if we felt their hunger? What if we imagined their thirst? What if we thought about the U.S. bombs pummeling throughout the night, what that would feel like? What if we visualized every university, mosque, community, home, neighborhood, memories buried under the same rubble that was suffocating our relatives and our loved ones? What if we saw ourselves? What if we didn't see them? What if we saw us? This moment is the biggest threat to humanity we have ever faced. The earth is aching. Systemic oppression is advancing at a rate that none of us can keep up with. But we cannot allow our hearts to become hardened. The people of Palestine have given me the greatest gift. They have taught me what actually matters in this finite amount of time we have on this earth. My spirit has been reminded. I want to live in a world where standing up against genocide isn't brave, it's human. I want to live in a world where using our platforms to condemn ethnic cleansing isn't a risk, it's a given. I want to live in a world where advocating for the most marginalized isn't rewarded, it is expected. I want my children to know that Palestinian liberation is their liberation, is our liberation. They are not separate.
That was the rapper Macklemore at an important program to free the Columbia graduate and pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil and to stop the genocide of the Palestinian people. The final solution was a term that Hitler used to refer to the elimination of the Jewish people in Europe, the systematic murder, crushing, and silencing of a whole people. And this is what Israel, with the full backing of the United States, is attempting in the Israeli genocidal slaughter of the Palestinian people, making it impossible for the Palestinian people to survive as a people in the historic homeland of Palestine, whether through mass murder, mass imprisonment, forced mass exile, or all of the above. Do not look away. Do not stand aside. The streets of Gaza are filled with concrete rubble, dust, and blood. 2 million people deprived of food, water, medical supplies. Israel is bombing tents.
Airstrikes have targeted displaced people, many of whom are living in tents. Hundreds of thousands are at risk of severe hunger and malnutrition as Israel continues its bombardment.
Hospitals, an aid kitchen while people line up for food. There is no fuel for bakeries, ambulances, water desalination plants. The sewage system is destroyed, and hundreds of tons of garbage are piling up, disease running rampant. Hospitals are running out of blood, which people cannot donate because they are dehydrated and starving. And the forced displacement continues. In the last week, hundreds have been murdered, including 180 children in one day. On top of the over 60,000 already killed, almost 20,000 of whom are children. What is this but genocide? Moves toward the final solution. It is possible, even likely, that the Israeli army will begin a ground invasion into Gaza, which will multiply the death, terror, and destruction, the all-out ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people from Gaza threatened by Trump and the genocidal maniac Netanyahu. But not only is Israel systematically attempting to destroy a people, they are systematically targeting those who expose this. In the occupied Palestinian territory of the West Bank, where over 3 million Palestinians live, the Israeli army is working with settlers to ethnically cleanse the region with bulldozers, bullets, and arrests. This is captured in the powerful new documentary No Other Land, which tells the story of the forced displacement of people in the village Masaferyata and the struggle to form human connections across impossible conditions. 3 weeks ago, No Other Land won an Oscar. And this week, one of the filmmakers, Hamdan Bilal, was viciously beaten by Israeli settlers and then beaten and kidnapped by the Israeli army. He was released on Wednesday due to mass outrage. And this is one of the filmmakers, Basil Adra.
There is a revenge that they want to punish us or to try to scare us from speak up and speak loud. And the Oscar brought a lot of tension, and everybody almost in the world, millions of people start to know about Masaferyata and the story of Masaferyata.
Revenge for telling the truth. Revenge for exposing Israel's lies. Back in Gaza, Israel assassinated 2 more journalists, Hossam Shabbat and Mohammed Mansour, making this over 208 media workers who've been killed in the last year and a half. Mohammed was targeted in a missile strike on his home, and Hossam was targeted in his car. And these were not accidental or incidental. They were put on a hit list by Israel, repeatedly threatened, and then finally assassinated. But knowing they were in Israel's crosshairs, they did not back down. They continued to courageously show the world. Hossam was 23 years old. He reported for Al Jazeera and was one of the few journalists who stayed in northern Gaza last year after violent forced evacuations. He reported after the bomb blasts and in the hospitals, and he watched his colleagues killed.
أنس وإسماعيل وكل الصحفيين مش مجرمين، إحنا مش مجرمين، إحنا بنيجي للصورة، الاحتلال بيتعمد استهداف الصحفيين، هذه جريمة، قبلها راح ضحية، راح 1000 ضحية بعد قبلها، زميلنا الصحفي الدحدوح استهدف كل عيلته، وأنس الشريف استهدف كل عيلته، والحين صاحبنا وزميلنا وحبيبنا اسماعيل الغول ايش ذنبه؟ ذنبه انه حمل كاميرا وجوال. ايش ذنبه؟ والله نكمل الطريق. والله نصور ونفضح جرايمك.
According to those who knew him, he was funny and loving and yes, courageous. He left this letter to be posted if he was murdered. And he wrote in part, "If you're reading this, it means I've been killed, most likely targeted by the Israeli occupation forces. When this all began, I was only 21 years old, a college student with dreams like anyone else. I ask you now, do not stop speaking about Gaza. Do not let the world look away. Keep fighting. Keep telling our stories until Palestine is free. For the last time, Hossam Shabbat from northern Gaza." Again, do not look away. As he said, keep fighting. And that fight must grow broader, deeper, and more determined, taking responsibility to act until this nightmare is ended. Stop the U.S.-Israeli genocide of the Palestinian people. Stop the repression of pro-Palestinian voices. Now we want to play a clip from the actress and the comedian Hannah Einbinder speaking powerfully at a human rights campaign event.
I see it as antithetical to our deepest Jewish traditions to fall in line and not question the actions of a state enacting atrocities in our name. Israel's actions are not in the name of Jewish safety, and it is the very conflation of Israel's actions with the Jewish people that continues to endanger Jews around the world. Donald Trump and the Israeli government have suggested that displaced Palestinians be taken by other countries. We Jews know all too well the pain of having to leave our homelands or face certain death. We queer people know what it is like to be marginalized and demonized in society without the institutional power necessary to protect our community. Our histories and communal experiences demand that we recognize this familiar experience and stand in solidarity with Palestinians, that we say no to Trump, no to Netanyahu. As Jewish people, we must say no to the weaponization of our grief for the hostages and our historical trauma to justify murdering civilians. We have to look into the tearful eyes of the children of Palestine orphaned by American bombs and say, no, never again is now, never again for anyone. Fascism is rising across the globe. We are watching our right to free speech dissolve before our eyes. Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia organizer who protested the bombardment of his people, is sitting in an ICE detention center in Louisiana because his cry for humanity is in opposition to the military interests of our country and the agenda of the Trump administration. A young activist was ripped away from his 8 months pregnant wife in the night with no crime and no warrant. And Donald Trump says this violent disappearance was done to combat anti-Semitism. Mahmoud Khalil standing alongside both Palestinians and many Jewish students, calling for the Israeli army to stop dropping bombs on his homeland, does not make me feel unsafe. Elon Musk and Steve Bannon heiling Hitler does. Donald Trump calling a group of white nationalists with tiki torches shouting, "Jews will not replace us, very fine people," does. All struggles for liberation will be won by loudly opposing the corporations who fuel the destruction of our planet and the institutions that fuel mass death of our fellow human beings. Visibility is a responsibility. Those of us who have a platform must use our voices to ensure that speaking out is not outlawed altogether. Thank you.